We have a rematch in a fight that ended in a draw between Groovy Lando Vannata and King Bobby Green, and we've seen both of these guys relatively recently. I mean, Lando Vannata had a unanimous decision win over Yancy Medeiros earlier on this year, whereas Bobby Green just fought the Carpenter Clay Guida to a really fun fight, and he ended up winning the decision there. But again, do you want to go back? Do you want to go too far back and look at some of the losses that Green's had, look at some of the losses that Vannata has had, or do you want to try and compare what happened in that draw to what could happen in this fight? I mean, Matt, what do you make of this one here?
This is the rematch I never knew that I needed in my life, but I'm happy I'm going to get it just because Lando Vannata and Bobby Green, you can say a lot of things about their careers. Personally, Lando Vannata, I thought he was going to go on to great things after that Tony Ferguson fight. Never really happened for him, but he's never had a boring fight other than the Yancy Medeiros fight. Don't call me out on that. I realize it was terrible. But for the most part, you know what you're going to get with Lando Vannata. Really good striker. Really fun guy. Like, you can tell there's just some fighters who you really want to tune in when they fight. The John McDessie knockout was one of the most violent things I've ever seen in my whole entire life. The thing that worries me about Bobby Green is if you're having a close competitive fight with Clay Guida at this point in his career, I've got some questions for you because a guy like Jim Miller was able to finish Clay Guida in the first minute of their fight. And for Bobby Green to not only not be able to finish him, not be able to drop him, or really do any... He beat him. But just beating Clay Guida is not enough anymore. That's my issue with that fight. It's not always who you beat, it is how you beat them. And I know we like to talk about guys and their records and kind of who they've fought in the past. If you're fighting a guy who's 0-0, you should beat them by flying knee or some crazy finish in the first round because that's what you're expected to do. And for Bobby Green, I know he's had, you know, his ups and a lot of downs as of late, but I really thought he was going to go out there and run over Clay Guida. And yes, he got the win, but it did not impress me as much as I thought it should. And with Lando Vannata, the Yancy Medeiros fight was weird because I think that's one of those fights that we both agreed on paper was very exciting going into it. Yancy Medeiros rarely has a boring fight, was involved in one of the greatest fights ever with Brazilian Cowboy. Lando Vannata, same thing. And it just kind of became, which one of us strikers is better at wrestling? Which is something you never really want to see. It would be like if Robert Whittaker and Darren Till just decided, let's double leg each other a lot this fight. And that's not what the fans really want to see. Lando Vannata, I think, has made the more improvements since their first fight. Now, I think he has regressed in some aspects of his skill set. I don't think he's as confident as he once was coming into the UFC, and I really think that's the key for Lando Vannata. When he's having fun and confident, it kind of reminds me of Cowboy. When he's high-fiving his opponent and having fun and not really thinking about the fight itself, he's able to sort of enter that, you know, flow state where just kind of let everything unload. And when Lando Vannata is in that state, he's a dangerous fighter for anybody at 155. But we haven't really seen him in that capacity or at his highest potential for a very long time now. So it really comes down to, it's a crossroads fight, but not the best kind of a crossroads fight. Because if Bobby Green loses, I know I've said this quite a few times, it's probably it for him, but who really knows at this point? And if Lando Vannata loses, I don't want to say he's the Sage Northcutt, but he's kind of the hardcore Sage Northcutt because you expected so much out of him at one point in his career, and he was just never really able to fulfill those just big dreams that we all had for Lando Vannata at one point. So I'm expecting a very exciting fight. I'm expecting a very fun fight. Both guys know a lot about their opponent coming into this because it was a rematch of a fight of the night, might I add. So it's not like their first fight was boring by any means. And Lando Vannata, here's the thing about their first fight. Lando Vannata gets off to a great start. Is able to drop Bobby Green early. But as Bobby Green's getting back up to his feet, Vannata lands an illegal knee, which rocked Green pretty bad. So they take a point from Vannata. He still ends up winning the round, so 9-9. And then they split the next two rounds. So Lando Vannata won the fight. He had won 2 of the 3 rounds. It just he was docked the point, and you don't really know how much Bobby Green was hurt from that knee. So take from that what it is. So I think it's gonna be a great fight. I think they do match up well with each other. It's just really hard to tell who's better at this stage of their careers.
And that's why it's kind of a weird fight, because if you look at the odds, I mean, Lando Vannata minus 145 favorite or thereabouts, and if you look at Bobby Green, he's coming back roughly a plus 120. He opened as a minus 150. The odds have shifted quite a bit. They've kind of corrected themselves. It's just weird to look at these guys' records since they fought, or even before that, because Bobby Green's a guy that has a win over Josh Thompson in the UFC. If you look at their draw, so they draw. Bobby Green goes on to beat Eric Koch. Doesn't really tell you much. Loses to Jakar Close. Well, I mean, at a point, he looked quite good.
A lot of people thought Bobby Green won.
Loses to Francisco Trinaldo, the ageless wonder that just had a win over the weekend. And then beat Clay Guida in a fight where he definitely won it for sure. Guida really pushed a good pace in that one. Bobby Green was able to stuff the takedowns. The striking looked quite crisp in that one. He did that nice shoulder lean that he does. For Lando Vannata, loses to Close, draws against Matt Frevola, beats Mariano. That means absolutely nothing. Loses to Mark Jacasey, which it's tough to tell what Mark Jacasey you're going to get. and then beats Yancy Medeiros in a fight where Yancy Medeiros didn't pull the trigger, at all.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a great fight. It's tough to tell, and I think you bring up a good point. Now, we have no idea what's going on in Lando Vannata's head when he fights. It could be just bears with symbols. Who knows? But yeah, we haven't seen him enter into that same type of state where I wouldn't say he throws caution to the wind, but he gets a lot more creative with the strikes. You see the spinning attacks. You see really wonky looks and different angles that you don't normally see from a lot of guys, which Bobby Green, well, what do we know? Excellent takedown defense, really crisp boxing, and if he has to push pace, he will. If you want to push it and bring the fight to him, he's more than willing. For a lot of different reasons, I think this is a good fight, and again, it's a litmus test as to, is Bobby Green ready to continue to take on those tough guys that he has in the past, or is this Lando Vannata's finally going to be his chance to break through? I think that's a lackluster performance from both guys, like you saw from Vannata against Medeiros. You're just going to perennially see Lando Vannata taking on those, 30 to 25 guys, and you're kind of stuck in no man's land without having a breakout performance again, like we saw with the Tony Ferguson fight. And for Bobby Green, you pick up a good win here, and you just keep on chugging along. And for a lot of those reasons, I think Bobby Green's going to be able to get the win as the underdog in this fight. I know the first fight went to a draw. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me in the comments.
I'm going to.
I just think Lando Vannata is going to have a tough time trying to take Bobby Green down. I think in terms of striking, if there's a lack of creativity, you can see holes where Yancy Medeiros, man, he really should have pulled the trigger there. And if you listen to the commentary, and I'm thinking back to it, they were saying Yancy Medeiros got to do this, got to pick up the pace. Those are all things that Bobby Green can do in the second round, in the third round. And for those reasons, I think Bobby Green's going to get the win here. I feel like we're going to disagree on this one.
Oh, for sure. And not even because I hate Bobby Green or I don't think there's a chance that he can win. It's just, when we say Bobby Green has good boxing, he has unique boxing. It's not like he's a Dustin Poirier or a Jorge Masvidal who can go out there, slip your shots, and then land a combo with their own. He's very niche in the way that he strikes. A lot of people like that shoulder roll. But when you actually watch what Bobby Green does, he doesn't throw many strikes. He really likes to wait for that perfect strike, and then kind of unload his combinations and his bombs. When he lets his hands fly, and it's the same thing with Vannata. We have two guys who, when they let their hands fly, they're very, very dangerous fighters. But it's not every single performance where you see the best version of them. Very inconsistent. Bobby Green at his best isn't as good as Lando Vannata at his best at this stage in his career. Now, if this was 2015, 2016, I would probably say Bobby Green's got this one in the bag. But at this stage, I just don't know what Bobby Green has left. He's been to the top of the mountain. He's been down and back up again. I just don't know at what stage of his career he's at. I don't think he's not this guy who's going to go on this big run at lightweight. I think Vannata's going to be able to get it done. Bobby Green's probably going to retire after the fight, then take another fight 6 months after that, because he seems to do that every time he loses now. But I just think Lando Vannata, he's a little bit better of a striker. He throws kicks, unlike Bobby Green. And I think that calf kick's going to be a big problem for Bobby Green in this fight, so I'm going to pick Lando Vannata. Probably by decision. I don't see him getting the finish, but this will be an entertaining one.
Matt, I'm going to really try and stand on my legs, so here we go. With Lando Vannata, the trouble is we're given one to take one at just a slightly negative percentage, less accurate with the strikes, less of a defensive percentage over his UFC career, which is a smaller sample size than we've had from Bobby Green. And we've seen it in these Lando Vannata fights, especially the Tony Ferguson one. And again, you have to kind of scale and grade these numbers differently, but for Bobby Green to have a total career strikes landed per minute at 5.01 to 3.52 absorbed, and a great takedown defense percentage of 74% that you're unlikely to see from another fighter at lightweight, it all lends credence to the fact that anything that Lando Vannata throws at him, he should be able to withstand some of that pressure and get the win. Now, we can totally disagree because we're talking about 33-year-old Bobby Green and 28-year-old Lando Vannata. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm going with Bobby Green. You're going with Lando Vannata. Let us know what you're thinking below in the comments, who you're picking in this fight, because, hey, we're disagreeing here, so let us know. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, an extended look at our main event, 3 rounds between Derek Brunson and a tough out in Shahbazyan. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. As we always say, let's get into it.